Hi, this is Sue Jackson of the Live with ME/CFS blog, and today's video is a practical one, how to nap. Now, for most of us with chronic illness, particularly ME/CFS, naps are just a part of normal life. Whether you take one every day or you need one occasionally, we just can't make enough energy overnight to take us through the whole day. So we need a little recharge in the middle of the day. Just a side note before I begin, that sleeping at night is a different story for people with ME/CFS due to the sleep dysfunction that is an integral part of our disease. So the tips that I'm going to offer today are helpful also for falling asleep at night, but they're not going to restore the deep stages of sleep that you're missing if you have ME/CFS. Instead, you need to correct or treat the sleep dysfunction, which is possible. And this doesn't mean taking sedatives to knock you out, but rather restoring the normal deep stages of sleep that you've been missing. So I'll include some links down below if you want more information on correcting sleep dysfunction. But today's video is all about napping. So I take a nap every single day. It's an integral part of my routine that keeps me going. And I started that about a year after after I first became sick. I had a new diagnosis at the time called chronic fatigue syndrome. And it was great to have a name for what was happening to me. But my life was still very up and down. I'd have a good day and run around and do too much and then crash and spend the next few days or weeks on the couch. So around that time, I discovered, once I had a name for my illness, I read this book, Chronic Fatigue Syndrome, A Comprehensive Guide to Symptoms, Treatments, and Solving the Practical Problems of CFS. And the author is Greg Charles Fisher. I read this book and just started crying because it was the first time in the year of agony I'd been through that I actually recognized my own experiences in someone else's words. This is part memoir, but it's also a practical guide because he's got contributions from several well-known doctors who are well-versed in ME/CFS. So besides the emotional side of connecting and finding out I wasn't alone, one of the practical things that I learned from Greg's book was where he talked about proactive rest. This was a totally new concept for me and was really eye-opening to think about. He writes about learning how to rest before he crashes, learning how to take a daily rest, give his body that time to rejuvenate and restore in order to prevent these constant crashes. So that sounded like something that could really help me. That's when I began my daily nap. So with 18 years of napping experience behind me, I want to offer you some practical tips. First, I learned early on that I had to really rest. That reading, lying on the couch, watching TV, those things did not really restore me. I needed to be in bed, in the dark, with my eyes closed to actually truly get the rest that I needed. So with that in mind, here are some practical tips to help you nap. First step is to make your room cool, dark, and comfortable. For starters, the experts, scientists and doctors have studied this many times and have determined that 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit is the ideal temperature for sleeping. This is the temperature where your body is able to rest the most deeply. So lots of us keep our rooms too warm. So that's the first tip, is to make sure your room is cool. This can be challenging at midday when you need to nap, particularly in the summer. In our house, we have a lot of trouble cooling the second floor where the bedrooms are. So at nap time, I turn the AC down temporarily. I turn on a fan. I try to make sure it's as cool and comfortable as it can be. On those really hot summer days when I just can't get it cool enough upstairs, I might nap down in our basement where it's always cool and dark too, so that helps. And darkness is the other key factor. You really need to try to make your room as dark as possible while you're napping. We have room darkening blinds in our room. We've got room darkening shades in my son's room. He also has MECFS. Something like this where you can cut down the natural daylight when it's time to nap in the middle of the day. Timing's important too. For me, I nap after lunch each day because that's when my energy is naturally at a low point. I've made it through the morning okay, but by about 1 o'clock, 2 at the latest, I hit the wall. My energy just is depleted. I really need that rest. And napping right after lunch helps because, your body naturally wants to rest after a meal. So your room is cool and dark. Now make sure your bed is comfortable. This is second nature for most of us with chronic illness who spend a lot of time in bed. We had an older mattress that really held on to the heat. Like most people with MECFS, I have trouble regulating my temperature. I'm too hot a lot of the time, and this mattress was just torture for me. I'd wake up in the middle of the night just roasting. So we finally got a new mattress last year. It's got some of the newer Stay Cool technology in it that adjusts to your temperature so that I can be cool and my husband can be comfortable too. And that works really great for us. Also, since the room is nice and cool, some comfy blankets, preferably in layers, so that if you do get heated up, you can adjust. And comfortable pillows. My bed is covered with soft pillows. I got this one just last year as well. It is I sleep on my side. This is a side sleeper pillow. I finally decided, my pillows always get crushed too quickly, so I finally decided to spend a little more money, get a nicer pillow. This one is supposed to retain its loft long term. So far, so good. But that way, I've got a nice, soft place to lay my head, and I feel comfortable while I'm in bed. Now, you might need some help with getting your body to really relax when you're ready to take a nap. For me, I usually take 2 valerian. Valerian is a mild herb, kind of like chamomile. And chamomile can work too. We like Celestial Seasonings Sleepy Time Tea, which has chamomile and mint in it. Tastes very good and also makes you gently sleepy. But again, like a lot of people with MECFS, I can't hold on to fluids. I'm constantly having to race to the bathroom. So I am not going to drink another cup of tea right before my nap. So instead, I take 2 valerian. Now, one word of warning, valerian can be rather stinky. It smells pretty bad. So rather than get capsules, I get these little coated tablets. The brand is Nature's Way. The coating keeps the stink out, or keeps the stink in, I guess. And these also contain lemon balm, which is another calming herb. So that helps me settle down to rest. I also take magnesium at nap time, And magnesium can also help make you sleepy, but magnesium is essential for people with MECFS and many other chronic illnesses for other reasons as well. It helps with pain. It helps with neurological symptoms. It helps with cognitive function. Magnesium is really essential when you're battling a chronic illness like ME/CFS. But you have to be careful what kind you get. The magnesium sold in the drugstore is very often the cheaper varieties, magnesium oxide or magnesium citrate. And the problem with those is they are not well absorbed by your body. They actually cause diarrhea because they run through your body so fast. Magnesium citrate is even used in colonoscopy prep, so you really want to stay away from that. Instead, we like magnesium malate. It's very well absorbed. Magnesium glycinate is another option. And magnesium L-threonate. This brand uses the word neuromag. The reason they've used that name is because magnesium L-threonate is unique in that it crosses the blood-brain barrier, meaning that the magnesium actually gets into your brain. So this one is especially helpful for cognitive function. In fact, it's been used successfully in many studies on dementia patients. So I usually take 2 magnesium tablets and 2 valerian before I get ready to take my nap. Okay, the next tip sounds a little odd, but stay with me. Put on warm socks. There have actually been scientific studies showing that wearing warm socks, keeping your feet warm, help you to fall asleep faster and sleep more deeply. Once I read about this, I tried it out and I found that it really works. So I use something like this, big fuzzy socks. For my nap, I just pull them on over my regular socks. I do this all the time, except for maybe the hottest days of summer. But it really does help you to settle down to sleep and relax and fall asleep more easily. Next is what I like to call sensory deprivation. For me, it really helps, especially with that daytime nap, when I can completely block out light and sound. For the light, my husband got me this really nice travel sleep mask for Christmas. It even comes with its own little earplugs. However, when I'm at home, I don't really like to have the strap around my head. I do use this while traveling in the car or on a train or on a plane. It works great. But when I'm at home, again, this sounds a little odd, but stay with me. I just use a dark sock. This is one that I borrowed from my husband. It's just a men's size fleece, dark colored sock. And since I'm a side sleeper, when I'm lying on my side, I can just place it over my eyes, lay it like that. It's very dark. It's very soft and comfortable. There's no strap or irritation, and it stays in place because I sleep on my side. It would also work well if you sleep on your back. My mom likes this kind of an eye mask. It's sort of filled with like bean bags, and it's got a lavender scent to it. And a lot of people, I think, like these too because there's a comfort to the feeling of a slight weight. So these can work well, especially if you sleep on your back. All right, so that takes care of the light. Now the sound. Trying to nap during the day can be challenging with other people in your household still up, lawnmowers and garbage trucks going around outside. So for a long time, I used just the classic foam earplugs. These are the kind that, you just roll in your fingers and stick into your ears. My problem was I have really small ears. And so I always had trouble getting these situated quite right, and I found they didn't really block the noise as well as I needed. Then I learned about silicone earplugs, which, no joke, were life-changing for me. These usually come in a little plastic case like this. As you can see, they usually come 12 to a case, and as you can see, they're just little blobs of silicone. And what you do is you can mold it any way you want. So because it's silicone, it molds really well to your ear. And you fit it in, you make sure it's in there nice and solid. What? Just kidding. They're reusable, and they really block out the sound well. So I use my dark sock and a silicone earplug on the side that's sticking up, and that really helps me to block out the light and the sound. Next, with all that prep in place, it's time to settle down. You're in bed, you're relaxed, you've darkened and cooled the room. Now, just getting in these habits of doing these things every day is going to help your body, to signal to your body that it's time to rest. But it can help to have a little period of time to help yourself settle down and quiet down. For me, that means reading. I love to read, so I'll read part of my book. I'll just read for like 15 to 20 minutes. Since I've already darkened the room, I use a headlamp to read by so that, the room is already dark. That's a signal to my body that it's time to rest. I read for about 15 to 20 minutes. By then, the combination of the valerian, the magnesium, the warm feet is starting to make me very sleepy. So that's what works for me. Other people might like to listen to some quiet music, maybe listen to an audiobook. Probably not Stephen King at nap time, but however you like to relax. This is also a great time to meditate in whatever way works for you. Now, don't be scared off by that. This doesn't necessarily mean, sitting in the lotus position for 20 minutes. You can meditate in many different ways. And these days there are lots of great apps for that. But some of the basics, you can repeat a mantra to yourself, and it doesn't have to be anything official. Something like calm or peace will work just fine. Lots of experts recommend focusing on your breathing. What's most recommended is breathing through your nose, slow, deep breaths. So most experts recommend inhaling slowly for 4 counts, and then holding the breath for 3 or 4 counts, and then exhaling slowly. I find that once I've put my book down, just doing this with the slow, deep breathing usually is enough to send me off to dreamland. There are other things you can do, like tensing and releasing each muscle group in turn, moving up your body, like from your toes to your head. So there's a lot of different relaxation techniques that you can learn. You can look online, you can use an app, or you can just try simple deep breathing. Okay, so you've gone through all this preparation, you're ready to rest, you close your eyes, and you can't fall asleep. That's okay. That happens to me sometimes. Normally this routine puts me to sleep for 45 to 60 minutes, and I wake up feeling refreshed. But, some days there's something on my mind, or I'm feeling restless, and I just can't fall asleep. And I learned a long time ago to just remind myself, it's okay. If I can't sleep, merely lying down, resting, completely relaxed, in the dark, with my eyes closed, is going to provide some level of restoration for me. It may not be as good as a full nap, but it helps. So, don't panic. Just tell yourself it's okay. I will continue the deep breathing or repeating a mantra to myself. At some point, I may drop off. Yesterday I was like this. I had been out shopping in the morning, so that kind of left me overstimulated and I was having trouble falling asleep. I was like a half hour into trying to nap and it wasn't happening, but I just kept, the deep breathing and the slow counts, and another half hour passed in a snap. So I do think I fell asleep for a little bit, but sometimes you won't, and just the relaxation is going to help. Okay, so finally, you've had your nap or your rest. Now what? Well, there's one last step, and that's how to wake up. There are some things you can do to help. Lots of people might feel groggy after a nap. There are some things you can do to help yourself wake up and get back to wakeful life. I usually start by splashing cold water on my face and my eyes. That's been shown in studies to help wake you up. It also takes some of the puffiness out of my eyes after I've been sleeping in the middle of the day. After that, I come downstairs. I take my after nap meds. Our dietitian helped us to decide what time of day to take various supplements, and she advised me to put my most alert supplements, those that help with energy, into my after nap box. And it really does help. So there's some things in there that will help with alertness and wakefulness. But the other thing you can do that will really help is to get some daylight. If you're feeling up to it, go outside. I may just walk to the mailbox, take a slow walk around our cul-de-sac. At that time of day, I'm not really up to a full-on walk, but just being outdoors for a few minutes in the fresh air, seeing hopefully the sunshine, sometimes just daylight, it really helps. If I'm not feeling well, or actually anytime the weather is nice, I'll go out on our back deck and lay down in our lounge chair. Just being outside, I find nature really rejuvenating, and listening to the birds, looking up at the sky, watching the clouds and the leaves, it just really perks me up and rejuvenates me. So getting some outdoor time can really help. If the weather's bad or you're not up to going outdoors, try to sit or lie near an open window. After your nap, you should open up those room darkening shades, brighten things up again. Just sitting by a window can help, even if you can't go outside. So that's how I nap every day. This routine, this daily nap, has been a lifesaver for me. I just can't make enough energy during my nighttime sleep to carry me through the whole day. When I hit the wall in the early afternoon hours, that nap allows me to relax and rejuvenate for the rest of the day. And I find that the longer you do it and the more you keep up a daily routine, the more easily your body will relax and rest and perhaps sleep. And then once I've had my nap, I'm ready for the rest of the day. I've got the energy to sit down and write a blog post, to make dinner for my family, and to enjoy the evening. I do spend most of the evening lying on the couch, but I'm awake and alert enough to enjoy my family's company. So that's how I nap. I hope that these tips have helped you, and that the routine of a daily nap allows you to live a better life also. Thank you.